Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Duval Dish. This week we are discussing judging and the jury of drag pageantry. I'd like to thank you guys so much for tuning in, taking time out of your Sunday to be here. We have a fabulous panel that's going to join us, so we're going to take the time now to bring each of one of them on. As you know, my name is Alvion Davenport, and I am Miss Duval Plus, the COVID Queen. I've been reigning since 2019. So we're going to bring on my promoter and the owner of Mr. Duval and Miss Duval. This is Rick Fan.
Hi, Albion, COVID Queen.
Hello, Rick. How are you? The COVID Queen. And I'm not mad about it. Let me tell you, I am not
Cool,
mad about being the COVID Queen. We
cool.
also have in the house the double doll talents of Tasia LaBelle Thomas. We're going to bring Tasia slash Zadiq on now. Welcome.
Hello, greetings and salutations, ladies and those who don't understand what's going on.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, would you like for us to call you Zadiq or Tasia tonight?
I want you to call me whatever you know me as. I'm an entertainer, so it doesn't bother me what you call me. I mean,
What
when
up,
you
bro?
like, yeah, what's up? You know what I'm saying? It's you. You know what
You'll always
We
be
also
Tasia.
have an avid pageant supporter, a pageant contestant, a makeup artist, and someone I'm sure you all have heard or seen one of the lives after the pageants are over. Got a whole lot to say, but it makes a whole
I'm saying?
lot of sense. So let's welcome at this time BJ Keistanek. Hello, BJ. We can't hear you.
No.
What you done? Now we done tested this thing and you done can't hear you, bro.
BJ needs some Cabernet.
Yeah.
He's on mute.
He's
Oh,
on mute.
unmute yourself. Did I unmute you? Unmute.
No.
No. Now, Tasia, you're on mute.
Oh yeah, I muted myself.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta call out and call back in.
yeah. Get up out of here. So while we're waiting on BJ to get himself together, we also have two other panelists who will be joining us tonight, Skip Mackel and also Vicky Valentino. There is a slight time difference, so I think that the both of them are probably trying to figure out what time it is where they are compared to what time it is where I am. So I am texting and talking to them now, so whenever they arrive, they will join us. But we're going to go ahead and start with some introductions and let's not keep the people waiting. So let's start with Rick. Tell us something about yourself and why you love the art form.
Okay. Well, I'm Rick Finn. I've been judging pageants roughly about 30 years now. Why? Oh, well, I'm the owner of Mr. Duval, Miss Duval Plus, um, a number of other contests as well. So I won't go into all of them. But why I love the art form, since I've been a kid, I've loved pageantry. And I guess it was just something that was always in me. Once I saw my first drag pageant, I was hooked. Uh, Honestly, just hooked. I love the everything about drag. That's just all there is to it. I'm not gonna go on because I tend to be long winded. I've been told that a lot. I'll just
So
say
you're going to
that
be the Benny of this session.
I will not be the Benny of this session. Not that there was anything wrong with what Benny. I enjoyed Benny,
I know.
but I will
I did.
not be Benny. Okay.
Okay, you gotcha. All right, let's see the DOLL. Tell us, well, we already guess which name or
There we
whatever
go.
you want.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what name you call me because it's well known everywhere, whether it's controversy or not. It doesn't matter. But I am Tasia the DOLL. I'm a dual entertainer, and that means that I'm also a male lead. I've been in the art form for the last 22 years. And the reason why I enjoy the art of female impersonation and male lead is because many people don't know that I'm a graduate of Juilliard. I have a Bachelor of Performing Arts. I danced on Broadway for 3 years. And my first pageant that I went to was the year that Alexis Gabriel Sheraton won Miss Gay US of A. And what made me fall in love with the art form, I was fresh out of college. I didn't know anything about drag. And when I went to the pageant, um, there were the contestants. That was the year she did her Josephine Baker rendition. I think Layla LaRue did her Missy Elliott, and then if I'm not mistaken, Nicole of Dupree did Eve's Bayou, and it just made me feel like I was back in school again, and that was a part of me. Although I went to a conservatory that taught me how to be on stage.
We lost you.
Yeah, my better half was moving my car, and it's connected. So I fell in love with the art form because although I am not doing what my degree, what I went to school for, but I'm doing what I studied in school, and whether it's with a wig and lash or whether it's in a naked costume as a male lead or a female impersonator, I'm doing what I love, and that's entertainment on stage. That's how and why I fell in love with it.
Awesome sauce. And I think BJ's got it together now. Let's see.
Almost.
BJ.
Call, are
I'm
you there?
here. Yeah, can
Hey,
you?
We can hear you now.
Hey.
All right. So that basically everyone was doing their introductions and telling us why they love the art form.
Okay, okay. All right, well, hi everyone. Of course, my name is DJ. My stage name is Aja Crochet Times. I'm a resident of Jackson, Mississippi. I fell in love with the art form. I would honestly have to say because it was something that I was unfamiliar with, something that I was completely unaware of. My very, very first time going to the club, I met a legendary entertainer here in Jackson, God rest her soul, the late Sorry, yeah, and that was my first time ever seeing lashes, and I kind of zoomed in on it, and I was like, oh my God, what is it on your eye? I was unfamiliar with utilizing budding glue to keep your eyelashes held or intact. It kind of scared me so bad, but nevertheless, um, when I first became a part of a lifestyle family, my mother's dear more times, Alexander, he's always said, "Oh, you have such nice cheekbones. Let me do your makeup. Let me do your makeup." And of course, I was completely against it. Nevertheless, it ended up happening, and they kind of coached me into doing the show. My very first show was Rihanna Take a Bow, and I never knew how easy it was to make $200 to $300 in 4 to 5 minutes. So I was like, oh yeah, I think this is for me. I was a freshman in high school. I'm sorry, I was a freshman in college, and I just learned to appreciate the craft. When they began to appreciate me, I started entertaining Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of every week, all while being in college, and I just started evolving and trying to perfect my craft. And honestly, what made me fall in love with the art form was so many of the naysayers who didn't think that I would um, excel within it, or so many individuals who didn't think that I would be as good as others. The negative aspects of things or the negative notions that related to me is really, really what made me push to be my absolute best. And that's what really made me fall in love with the art form.
Awesome. So I guess I should answer the question of what made me fall in love with the art
yeah.
form. Actually, when I Senior year in high school, my friends and I went to the club, Godfrey's, which is where I still work after 18 years. And we walked in not knowing what to expect. I just thought it was going to be a bunch of men dancing around. But we walked in, and there was a drag queen by the name of Chantina Spalding on stage. And I thought it was the most ridiculous shit I have ever. I was like, what is happening? What is this? Is this what they warned me about? Is this, not to be rude, like them transvestites or something. I mean, what is she doing? Like, what in the hell? And I hated it. I thought that it was just the fool. I was like, Miss Mamas, what is happening? And so we stayed and we watched them come out, girl after girl after girl after girl to do the show. And as it just went on, I just was thinking to myself, I appreciated the creativity, and everybody had a different look, and everybody had different, garments and hair. And so that part of it drug me in, but I was still just so confused in my head, like, what? Why? Like, what the hell what is going on? I had never seen a drag queen in my life, not on TV, nothing.
Okay.
And so after going a couple times and starting to meet the girls, because back then that's when they would put like promo pictures on the tables in the clubs, and they would, if somebody was out of town. I remember Naisha was coming one time, and they had like this big old poster of her like on the front of the building, and all of that kind of stuff. And so after peeling back the layers of just the makeup and hair and what it was, I was like, you know what, this is really cool. It's really creative. It's a great way of expression. It's a great way of, and so then I just started to like it. We had to be there every week before the show started. They got my favorite corner, all that kind of stuff. And 18 years later, here I am. One of the ones that but when I first saw it, I just was like, oh no, ma'am. And so then my first time seeing a pageant was the year that Antoinette won Black Universe. And I went with Victoria Snow from here in Richmond, and we just went, we going to Atlanta. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I ain't know about no pageant and, know what was going to go on, but we just went to the pageant. And again, I was like, oh my God, this is like 10 times what I saw when I first went the first time. And Black Universe is what really made me fall in love with the art of female impersonation, seeing all the different stuff. And I remember checking into the hotel, and Antoinette, I saw her when, after she won, she came back we were at the same hotel, and it was like a whole group of people, and she was like a celebrity. Like they were all just following behind her, and she was like in this big black expedition truck, like Obama. I mean, it just was like a big old, like, to do. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Maybe we should try this. And my friends dared me to do it. And the rest is history. I mean, and that's how it happened for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So also during that experience, I'm going to Black University after year and watching, and then eventually jumping in to compete. I've always been into public speaking. I've always been into like student council and all that stuff at school. So when I saw like, oh my God, there's an MC, there's these judges, I would love to do that one day. And at the time, everything was at 7:08 for preliminary night. So I was just, oh my God, so fascinated. I want to do that one day. And so fast forward, when I did Black Universe a couple of years, and Archie was like, you know what, we really think that you got it. But we don't want you to invest so much of yourself into Black Universe. There's so much other stuff out there, give it something else a try, see how it works for you. And, if you want, then you come on back and let us, work with you and see what happens. So that's why when D West started Westland, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do Westland. It's a new system, let's try it. And so I did Westland and became the first Grand Empress. And D West actually gave me all of those opportunities that I was sitting there thinking, like, I want to be a judge up there. I want to be an MC up there. So when we had the newcomer division, I ended up judging it. When we had, like, I think whatever else something we had like that Unity show or something, I ended up MCing it. So all of those things that I was sitting there in that audience at 708 saying that I wanted to do, I wanted to become, D West and Westland made that possible. And that's what jump started me into MCing other pageants and judging other pageants. And that's how it all happened. So I tell D West all the time, everybody has their opinion of him, even I do. But, winning Westland really gave me those opportunities that that I was sitting there as a young kid, as a young boy, like, oh my God, I want to do that. I want to MC it. I want to da 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 da. And when I was Westland, it really gave me that platform to do so. So that's how I fell in love with the art form. Okay, so we're here
That's
to
cool.
talk about judging. You said what, Rick?
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all happened. I mean, Westland was like perfect for me because I love to travel. I love to, and so when I won Westland, that's when we were still doing the trips, and we went to the Bahamas, and we did, so it just was like everything all in one little crown gave me what I wanted.
Mm.
And one more thing I'll add is that he even like, because coming from Virginia, we don't have many. There's not a lot of Naishas and people like that in this community. Like all we have here is Victoria Snow, and then like Avantis lives 2 hours away. So there really wasn't like a lot of look up to type of people when it came to drag pageantry here. And so he realized that. And so like during my bookings and stuff, I remember at USA at Large, he came to me and he said, "Hey, do you know Taji?" And I was like, I kind of know her, I heard about her, and, I really don't know. She seems nice. He was like, well, I really want to pair you with her because y'all are the same skin complexion, the same, and I want you to work with her on some of your makeup, getting to learn different makeup skills and getting to learn. And so every pageant that we went to, that me and Taji did the walk or whatever, she would set up a time, and hours before we had to be at the pageant, we would sit there side by side. And she gave me a list of products and taught me how to draw an eyebrow and taught me how to do, all of that stuff I owe to Westland. My entire career changed because of my reign as Westland. Okay, anyway, so let's get into what we're here to talk about, and that's judging. Tonight's topic is the judges and the juries. So I picked a lot of judges that are well known and judge multiple pageants, and then I also picked some very opinionated people who have judged some things, but also have a very strong background and knowledge of this so that they're able to stand and speak on these things. So they're considered the jury and then of course the judges. But anyway, so that's the way that we did it. Skip is working on getting in. I don't know what he got going on. He said there's a storm in his area. Maybe the internet isn't strong enough. That's why he's having a problem. But anyway, so the first question is, and this is one of the big things at pageants is, what qualified you to be a judge? Who said you was good enough to judge me? Who told you to be on the panel? All of that. So we're going to start. What?
Oh my God! First of all, I want you to know I think this is quite unfair because we have a judge and the jury.
You're the only one that showed up.
Okay, I'm already prepared. BJ, just be nice to me, baby, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Qualifications. It's funny because I think about that all the time, because oftentimes contestants complain about, what do they know? How do they know? I'm a mailman, so they're like, how can a mailman judge drag? So in my opinion, I have watched drag for at least 30 years. I have sponsored girls. I have been that daddy, that granddaddy, and Basha was really my teacher. That's what I tell people. Basha was my child, but she was always also my teacher because she would be so excited about drag. Drag would take her all the way to the highest of heights, but it would also take her to the lowest of lows. And what I was taught early on, even though I'm just going to be honest, I judged Basha one time in a pageant against Racine, and there was a tie. They had to do a question and answer, a tiebreaker question. Racine had a better answer, so Racine won on my score sheet. At the end of the pageant, Racine won the pageant. I want you guys to know, coming home, I had to hear that the entire trip. How could you? I'm your child. Why would you give her more points than me? And I'm like, for me, the love of pageantry is the fairness of it. I've watched girls spend thousands of dollars. I mean, my money and their money. And it's hard-earned money. And if you love the art form, if you love the what you see, you don't want anyone to be cheated. And I know I'm going off the question, but the original question of how am I qualified? I feel like I'm qualified because I have been a dresser. I don't know anything about putting on makeup. That I know absolutely nothing about. I know nothing about how to style someone's hair. What I know is what looks good to the eye. I'm like, if there's strings, I mean, it could be something that I don't particularly like myself, but if they're coming in front of me and I can't bother it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I say. Okay, I have to give it a score. If makeup comes in front of me and it's not good makeup, hey, I gotta hit you for this makeup. What qualifies me, I think, is my years of love and watching. That is what I do. What I think part of the problem with some people being on panels, they don't necessarily go to pageants or go to shows. And then if you suddenly see them on a panel, you're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? How do we know? And some owners will say, well, they're from, I'm just going to say West Africa. And in West Africa, they're doing this. But the problem is the community doesn't know that. So when the community sees someone that they have no knowledge of, there's no reputation or standard or what have you, then it makes it hard for the judges like myself who don't do drag, but have such a love and appreciation of it that I just honestly feel like that's what qualifies me. Hi, Skip.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Finally got on.
Great.
So glad to see all of you.
You same here. Although we can't really hear.
You can't hear?
A little louder.
Let me see. How's that?
Better.
Better. Good.
Alvion, I hope that was good enough. No, I can't hear you.
Alvion, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I muted mine to talk to Vicky.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my God. Why am I late? Okay.
Paula!
We're all here. Everybody's made it.
Okay. All right.
Great to
All right,
see
so
all of
really
you.
quick, we are going to give Skip and Vicky a chance to tell us a little bit about them and why they love the art form. We'll start with Skip, and then we'll go back to the qualifications question.
Well, it's good to see all of you. I started judging about 30 years ago. I started with regular pageants. I judged the prelims for Miss America, and I met Jim Flynn actually at one of those events, and I didn't see him for a couple years. And then we reconnected when I started working with Denise Russell, and then he asked me to come on board at Continental, and next year will be my 30th year.
Wow.
Awesome. Awesome.
I was 12 when I started. Just so.
Vicky?
Hi, everybody. I'm Vicky Valentino from St. Louis, Missouri. I began the art of female impersonation in 1984. And I was introduced to female impersonation, of course, by so many people, actually, namely Vicki Vincent, Miss Gay America 1989. And Vicki Vincent was, in my opinion, the epitome of female impersonation in the sense that you can be this and turn into that. And I was just so intrigued by that. And following Vicki Vincent's journey to become Miss Gay America, I met so many people, and I adopted Tiffany Bonet as my mom. And these were gentlemen who presented themselves as gentlemen persona and then turned into these fabulous, beautiful ladies with such sophistication and intellect and all of that. And I was just intrigued by it. And one of the things about female impersonation that is so fascinating to me is the fact that a man can transform themselves into a beautiful illusion of a woman and actually carry it out and it be believable. So that's my fantasy description of why I love female impersonation so much.
Okay, awesome. I am trying. Can y'all see that on your screen? I'm trying to figure out why. why I can't see the comments, because people on Facebook should be able to comment in the thing on the side and we see it. So I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, so what'd you say, Skip?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. So the question that we started off with was, what do you think qualifies? What are the qualifications or qualifies a judge to be on a pageant panel? So Rick started off. We would love to hear from Vicky or Skip. Which one you want?
Well, one of the things that I feel a judge's qualification is actually having seen female impersonation. I don't believe that anybody who has never seen female impersonation or understand the dynamic of actually what female impersonation is if they're not that type of person, then they're not qualified to judge. And experience. A lot of times people are on the panel who have inexperience, and that inexperience brings insensitivity. And I just believe that. I believe that a person has to be sensitive to what drag is and what goes into it. I'm this type of judge, and Rick and I have been judging together for so many years. He's the Simon, I'm the Paula. I always say this, I always look for what's right first, because that's what's important. And that's what encourages a contestant. Did you notice what was right first? Because so many people go into looking for what's wrong first, so they lose the whole essence of why this person is even doing it. So I believe that the qualification of a judge in a nutshell should be someone who is sensitive and knowledgeable of the art form with experience.
Okay. Well, I think I was working in New York City on Starlight Express when La Cage aux Folles was starting to form. And we got to go to the rehearsals. The companies would go to each other's rehearsals and we'd talk. And I watched it and I was really fascinated with it. And of course, anyone that's on stage wears makeup. They like to say they don't, but they do. So it was just another layer of how to do makeup. And I was really fascinated by the whole thing. And I'd had, as I said, later on, I had judging experience. I coach international figure skating as a career. Actually, I have 2 careers, but that's what I do. So movement has always been a really important thing to me, being a dancer and being a skater. So I think when you're qualifying a judge, I think there's 2 things. I think number one, it's got to be their integrity. If someone comes in and there's just too much backstory, whether it's true or not true, too much is too much, And I think you have to always think about that. I also think it's interesting because you and I haven't discussed this before, but I always start with the top score when somebody comes out. They start with the top score.
Yeah.
And then we kind of chisel away as mistakes happen. But I think the problem with a lot of judges that do pageants is they make the evening about them. I'm so qualified. I know more than anybody here. You're not good enough for me to watch. And as soon as you take that over and you forget that people have spent thousands of dollars to be here, everyone wants to achieve, I think that's when the problem starts. Because I think there are all kinds of people with all kinds of qualifications. However, having said that, I think you need to start on a local level judging just as you do competing.
Yeah.
Because you're an intelligent person. Rick, I think you and I discussed this once on another show we did or something. But, you learn as you go. And I think that, it's like getting a degree in it. And you find qualifications, you identify your mistakes. You're not always going to agree with everybody else, but that's okay. That's why there's more than one person. I say that all the time. I think when you end up with a panel with too many friends on, or too many people competing, then it becomes really convoluted. And then at the end of the night, everybody's in an uproar. So I think when you come in, you just have to look at somebody and their personality. I tell promoters, even local promoters, have a real conversation with them. Why do they want to do this? And if it becomes too much about them wanting to do this, then I think you're in trouble already.
Okay. What'd you say, Rick?
I love this answer. Yeah.
All right. So Tasia, let us know what you feel qualifies a judge as part of the jury. I think BJ got lost.
Here comes the jury.
I change y'all.
Love, how are you? Well, first, what to me, what qualifies a judge is what pageantry etiquette. And that's what pageantry etiquette is. Know what how
Someone's
pressure.
clicking.
What is that?
I think it's
Someone's, yeah.
okay. Pageant etiquette. You know how something fits, where a gown should falls, where clothes should fit on a male, how it should fit, what's too tight. The next thing for me, what qualifies a person to be an absolutely amazing judge is I don't care how well you know an individual and how good you know their clothes are. You should judge them as if it's your first time seeing them every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, well said. Well
Because
said.
what a lot of judges do, we'll say, let's your contestant number 3 is Miss Maybach, and you'll say to yourself, "Oh, I know she's gonna have a sickening gown." You've already made up in your mind
Right.
that the person is. But if you judge that person as if this is your first time seeing them, then that's easy. The next thing is we do this. I hear a lot of people say, "Miss Thing is so beautiful, she's so beautiful." We get past the point of we're looking at a contestant's beauty or masculinity that we forget to judge what they have on because we are so captivated by their beauty. And you'll see someone may say, "Oh, her gown was too short," but Miss Thing was so. Oh, she was so pretty. Oh, she was so beautiful. You don't judge competitions like that. You judge her on her makeup, her hair, and then yes, she's beautiful, but her gown was too short.
Yeah.
The next thing I think that qualifies someone to be an amazing judge, we have to take out the girlfriend situation. And if you're going to use the girlfriend situation, if you are a good girlfriend, I'm going to take off and be harder on my girlfriend because my girlfriend knows better and she knows that I'm sitting on this panel. So I'm going to be as fair to her as I'm going to be as everybody else. Girl, now you know that gown was too short. Or instead of saying, "Girl, that gown was too short, but I still gave you the point for it." So we have to be non-biased when we sit on a panel and judge each individual as a contestant and not as a girlfriend, a friend, a veteran, or a newcomer, or an underdog.
Right.
Lastly, what qualifies someone to be an amazing judge? You have to be able to stand by what you written down.
Okay.
And if you can't stand by what you have said and you have any justification, then you should not be sitting at that panel because I should be able to come to you and say, "Hey, you took off 3 points." You should be able to say, "I took off 3 points for sportswear because this. That's because you've seen it, you've acknowledged it. And acknowledging it is writing it down. And most of the time, 90% of the time, when you write something down, you remember it.
Right.
So that's
True.
what qualifies to me. That's what qualifies people to be absolutely amazing judges.
You know, I really liked what you said. I really did. And I think that comes back to the other point that I'd like to make is you have to judge a pageant category by category.
True.
Too many times when I've done local things or regional things, which I really try to do all the time, I want to be active in my community. You know, when you judge at the national level and you do it as long as I have, sometimes people think that you've lost interest in the entertainers around you, but you know, we should be bringing people up all the time. And I see judges often hook onto a contestant in the first category and they just stay there.
Oh,
So
wow.
that category's, you know, that contestant wins every category from that judge. And I think so I really agreed with what you said. I think that's a very, very important point because I mean, you know, I'll use her name and she's going to call and swear at me later, but you know, Terry Demore won talent at Continental one year. I mean, hands down won talent, and she didn't make the 12. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's ever happened in another system, but it was right. And she knows it was right now. When she got the DVD, she saw it. And really, she improved a lot from that. But I think that shows a good judge. I really do. And justify what you do. Justify what you do.
Thank you all for your opinions on that.
Wait,
really.
We didn't get BJ.
Oh, I forgot BJ. BJ, can you hear us?
We're waiting on BJ.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
Everybody's a little low. Is there a volume problem?
Well, I think his mic, it looks like his mic's off.
We can't hear you, BJ.
You're muted, BJ.
I really want to hear you, BJ.
No, we can't hear you.
Okay, leave the mic alone. Leave it alone.
Okay, there we go. Say something. Oh.
Okay.
There we go.
I don't hear it.
Me either.
Me either.
May have to leave it.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
And there he went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his. Okay, BJ. No.
Man.
Yeah, he may have to go out and come back. That may.
Yeah, he may have to. It may.
Yeah.
Go ahead, leave and come back. Leave and come back. No, we can't hear you. Cannot hear you. No. They're gonna hire me to do sign language when this is over. Leave and come back. Okay. So we talked about the qualifications. Now, as a judge,
Wait,
what is?
You're staticky.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly. I can.
I can.
Yes. Yes. Thumbs up.
I can't.
It's that Android.
I have one too, so I don't think.
Oh, he heard that. He fell out laughing.
Albion,
I have one too, so it works well.
It is. I don't know what it is. It was going great, but now it's like a robot talking or something.
Oh no.
BJ done hexed us or something.
Everybody, audio is good, so we can go forward.
Awesome.
It must be you, Mr. Flynn.
Now I just heard you, Landis.
I heard you, Landis.
Yeah, we hear everybody.
Okay, here we go. I got you. It's all that Cabernet.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
Oh my.
Okay, so the next question is, and again, these are questions that people have sent me over the week to try to get some things going in. And also, you're supposed to be able to see the questions in the feed. I don't know why, so I'm like ghettoing it up and got my phone trying to read the questions at the same time. All right, so what is it that you look for when you're judging?
There we are.
That depends on the category.
Well, I think for me, I think that you have to be familiar with the system because they're not all the same.
Right.
I think, a fit for your body is something that carries over every system. But I think you have to look at what the system's looking for. I hope everyone has a handbook, and this is what the system looks for. And you have to kind of work within those boundaries. It may not be your thing, but that's your decision to make when they ask you to judge, I've been asked to judge a few things, and I just didn't feel that it was something that I knew enough about because it was so different than what probably all of us do. So I think that's one thing you have to really look at. The other thing is I think you have to think about the level of competition because I think a good judge is an encouraging judge.
Yeah.
Like put down the positives. I try to find something really maybe not great to say, but good to say. And, my thing is always build on this because it's your strength. And I really think that happens. I mean, I don't know what you guys all think, but for me, that's it.
So I really like that you, first of all, I like what Rick said first, because that was kind of the answer that I was looking for, that I'm looking for what the score sheet says. But in addition to that, I do agree, Skip, that, what you're presenting, your comfortability on stage, your stage presence, your overall, everything that you're bringing onto the stage and the fit and everything of what you said. Every system is not the same. I learned that as well from some of the ones that I've judged. I mean, I've judged Black Universe, and then I've also judged an America prelim where it was like total different like
Absolutely.
things. You know, what we would consider like too short at Black Universe was just right at the America prelim, or what we would consider, you know, and that was something that I had to learn. And as you said, you're learning as you're growing with the judging in different systems and different atmospheres. I mean, I think that's another thing that contestants often forget as well, because they always get hung up in that. Well, I wore this gown at Miss ABC last week and I won gown. So why is it I didn't win gown at Miss XYZ this week? Well, to me, it's two things. There are a total different panel of judges. And then the second thing is, you might have beat those 5 girls who had no gowns, but these 2 girls got a gown for you.
Right.
So against those 5, you were good, but against these 2, that gown don't mean nothing. So it just really always have to remember that the caliber of the contest and what you're doing. Like a black velvet dress could work if you win Miss Richmond Gay Pride, but a black velvet dress may not work if you go compete at Miss Black Universe or Continental, or you know, wherever it is. So I think that's another thing that you have to remember when they say, well, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? Because contestants always say that. I want to talk to the judges and ask them what they're looking for. And if you're talking to a judge and they're telling you other than what the criteria of the pageant says they should be looking for, then you already starting off wrong.
Well, and that's a segue. I'm just going to say it. There's some people that there's some. Well, yeah. There's some people who have all of that right, but it's minus confidence and presentation of that.
Yeah.
And if I could be totally honest, and let me just be honest, because I've been a judge for like a long time, and there's this one particular North Carolina girl, and I'll just leave it at that. She has everything right.
Pause. So we mentioned that we're going to try to stay away from names and systems.
Okay. All right. And I don't mean to be nasty or anything. Of course, it should remain nameless. But she does.
Paula, you can't be nasty.
Well, I can, yeah. Well, here's the thing. She does everything right. Everything the score she says is right. It's minus confidence. It's just not believable. And I believe that pageantry is a presentation of yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so you can have the fit right. You can have this right. You haven't presented anything to me. You've just, because I think sometimes we get hung up in the numbers, and I'm this type of judge. I'm not the type of judge, Tasia, I'm sorry, that you'll say you took 3 points. I'm not going to explain each point. I'm just not going to do that. But what I am going to say is, according to the criteria, this was my opinion. Because I believe judges' panels are full of opinions. It's up to the contestant to present the facts. And then after the facts are presented, then we'll weigh our judgment on that. I can't tell you point by point. I can't do that. Because if there's a point variance from 1 to 5, I gave you a 3. Well, I'm going to put a comment in there to say, well, perhaps your gown was something, there were some fit issues or something, but that's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? I'm not going to quantify that. Well, you took off that for this gown being short. That just goes, because here's the thing. This is my mantra for judging. A good contestant or a good competitor already knows what's wrong before they hit the stage. Right. They just need a good, brave judge and a fair judge to tell them. Because what will happen is, that's just what because here's the thing. If you are a good competitor, now, if you're just starting out, maybe you need some tutelage or some guy, but if you're a good competitor, there's been times in Tasia and Alvion, I'm sure we've been on stage. There's a ruin in our stock. You're like, girl, I'm gonna try to cover this up, girl. Mm-hmm. So when you get your score and the judge said it was a ruin in your stock, what are you mad for? You already knew that. You knew the dress was a little bit too tight from the last time that you got measured. Girl, I hope they don't get it. But when they tell you, and there's a variance of how they verbalize that to you, girl, take it. The score is the score.
You always say that.
And that's just what I firmly believe. And I believe that because I'm a competitor and I don't have it always right. But guess what? At the end of the day, I know it wasn't right. You know what I mean? And sometimes people depend on the compassion of the judge. But then if we're being fair, like Tasia said, to Miss Blah Blah, to Miss Cece, we have to be fair, whether we're friends or not. Now, in my private conversation with you, this is my conversation, girl, you knew that. And then before long, it's like, girl, I sure did. Girl, you saw it. Yes, ma'am. But I'm not the only one that saw it because, again, this was a panel of judges. So that's
the thing that to piggyback off what you said about the they can have it all right and then there's no presentation. When I decided to compete at Continental Plus, one of my biggest mentors is Chelsea Pearl. Pray for Chelsea. I hope she gets well.
Yeah.
The thing that she told me was that if it was about the dress, you can bring it out on the hanger.
Hello. Hello. I agree totally.
And it's
She said
happened,
if it
and
was
it happens
only
often.
about the dress, you can bring it out on the hanger.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's what she said. And
Yeah.
she said, you know, and when I competed at Black Universe and I won Black Universe, Julian said something to me in my preparations. He said, every time you step on the stage, no matter what done went wrong in the dressing room, because you already know what you said, you already knew before you came out here. You need to tell yourself every time you're about to hit the stage, I'm the baddest bitch in this pageant and ain't no hoe gonna touch me, and have that confidence on the stage. And it's gonna come across. So even if you do have that stock and run you trying to cover up, sometimes maybe I didn't see it, but you done brought so much attention to it, trying to hide it, and now we see it. And so I really appreciate that comment, because when those two things resonated, when you said about, you know, you got it all right, you got the beautiful jewelry, you know, you paid $6,000 for a dress, but now you're out there marching like a truck driver, you ain't smiling, you ain't, you know, if it was about the dress, bring it out on the hanger.
And we're done.
Asia, you want to chime in?
Sure.
Hi, Tasia.
Hello, love. How are you?
Yes.
I'm a competitor, and not only am I a competitor, I am a very boisterous person that judge pageants sitting in the audience. So one thing my gay mother, Coco LaBelle Thomas, taught me a long time ago, when I was getting ready to, I was competing for a competition, and I had everything that the category was coming for, because I'm one of those people. If it says it has to have this, I do this, and then I work on what the fit is, and then I know the difference between what is fashion and what is costume. I know not to mix. And I was so upset that I didn't win the category. And my gay mother said to me was, if you go to the car lot and purchase a Bentley, they bring it to your house, you get in that Bentley and find out that it's a stink and you can't drive it, all you have is a car. So what I have done in my preparations, people pay for your show. My job is to give them that show. I can have on the ugliest piece of garment that meets the criteria, but my job is not only to sell it to you, the judges, to sell it to the people. Therefore, when you give me my scores, you can write down and say, that was the ugly ass dress that you had on, but you sold the shit out of it.
Out of the ugly dress.
Out of the ugly dress. So I say, it's the fit for me. It's the fashion. We know that. We have to understand what the criteria for the category is. My favorite category, we'll say sportswear. And we're getting into, a lot of contestants are getting into what high fashion is, and they want to do exactly what they think the model have on. But you also have to have, again, pageant. Why would you have on patent leather gloves with leather and a rhinestone belt? Just because you've seen that on the picture doesn't mean it should convey on stage. You still have to follow what pageant etiquette is. So if the accessories are leather, then go with leather. If the accessories are after 5, then you should be able to go with your after 5. But make sure it's not costume. Make sure it fits. It's in season, and you did exactly what the paper has, the criteria has asked you to, and you're putting on an amazing show.
Great. You know, I thought Rick made a really good point, and I think gets overlooked all the time in pageantry. You have to present yourself. You have to present yourself. Look, okay, I'll throw a few names around. Don't yell at me. There's not going to be another Tommy Ross. There's not going to be another Jennifer Fox.
There's not.
You know, there's not going to be another Christopher Iman.
No.
You have to bring what you have, and make it sellable. That and all the time, we've all seen it. Somebody will come up and they'll say, "Yeah, that's good, right?" People will come up and you'll see the look they have, and you saw it on somebody a long time ago, and it's always, I call it copy and paste. Like I'm just gonna put my head on that outfit, and it's gonna do the same thing for you it did for me, you know. And it's not gonna happen. And I love to see a new personality, because there's a couple kind of drags events that I love. Of course, I love Superior Drag, which you all know and you've all judged, and some of you all been in it. And sometimes I just like really bad drag. Like I like to go to a show. It's harder to go and not be known. That's a weird thing about this whole thing to me. But but they have so much energy and personality, and you say, "Wow, she's just awful," but I bet she's fun. You know, and that's the start of it. Develop what you have. Because here's the thing, and I say this to my skaters: you might have the best night of your life. I mean, everything worked for you. But guess what? There's a whole bunch of people in there, and their night might have been better.
Yeah.
So, you know, pageantry's about growth.
Yeah.
You want to be better. You want to learn. You want to share. You want to you set your goal, and you just want to do a little better each time. You know, and I think that's a really important thing.
So what do we say? Yes, Mr. Continental commented and said, "Sell yourself, amen." Yes, Desi, that's correct. So what do we say to the contestants that say, okay, I hear all of this, y'all give me some good points, and I show up at the pageant, I'm selling myself, I got this personality, but I keep on losing because y'all keep on crowning the Christopher Imans or the Alexis Sherringtons or the you know, how do we convey to them that your best is you're doing a great job. We see it, we believe in it, because there have been some pageants where I think we just had a conversation about Sasha Valentino said there were some times where I knelt down when I know I shouldn't, and there'll be some times where, you know, somebody else will kneel down when I know I should have. So it's to the point of, you know, how do we say, okay, you know, she was good, but they don't crown they good girlfriend, or they don't crown the veteran, or they don't crown the, you know, how do we put the faith in these people that constantly do this? And they were good that night, but for whatever reason, you know, the panel favored their old good girlfriend, or because she's a former Miss This, we ain't gonna let this newcomer beat her, or, you know, they get into all of those stereotypes and scenarios. So how can we convey, because there are newcomers watching, there most of the people that say, oh, I'm a newcomer, I want to watch, I want to see, I want to know, how can we convey to them and assure these people or put some faith in them that, you know, the things that we're saying are the things that we're gonna do?
Well, I really liked what Skip said. It's about growth. Nothing planted grows overnight. And you cannot blame those that are in full bloom. You can't.
Okay. That's beautiful.
However, depending on the type of fertilizer you bring, and it has to be fertilizer. And when I say that, it has to be every component that is absolutely undeniable against the veteran. And there have been pageants where that has happened.
Yes.
However, there are times that the veterans possessed a little bit more, whatever that little bit more is at that time. But there are times, and I want to reassure some of these new attorneys, because I'm watching some of these newcomer pageants, and I'm like, girl,
you should have did that.
And so I'm glad to see that, because my theory holds true. Girl, you can march in at this pageant that you were scared to go to and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
But make sure that while you're in this whole preparation of planning your packages, that you are actually evolving and you're growing and you're understanding what it means, you know, to present yourself in such a way. Because a lot of times, and this is very disheartening to hear. Some of the newcomers come out day one thinking that they're there
Oh, most
against the other
definitely.
person. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's really unfortunate because the reality is the spotlight shines the brightest on that when it's time for you to hit the stage. So my encouragement is always this. Everybody in this industry has grown. And whereas you may see them now, but I dare you to get some of those tapes from then. And to be honest, you'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah.
But it was because of their tenacity and their willingness to learn and to perfect their craft and to get as much experience as they can that has catapulted them to the status that they're in today. So if they're competing against you, they're bringing a culmination of their whole life to this one moment.
But that does not necessarily mean that they're going to be the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
Once again, we go back to judging. You have to judge what you see that
On that night. Correct.
That night. And in my opinion, I have to go back to a part of the discussion earlier. I feel like you guys were saying that backstage the flaws that you have, the stalking or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
A professional contestant is going to know how to camouflage that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was taught years and years ago by Basha. Once again, Basha sometimes would have the cheapest, smallest heel on. I mean, a real biscuit.
Debbie.
But the judges at times back then, sometimes they would say, pull your dress up. Let us see. There were times when Basha had rhinestone the toe of the dress, the shoe, but the rest of the shoe was ridiculous. But she had that confidence to, oh, you want to see my shoe? Pull the dress back just enough and look at the judges, smile at them, and leave. Now, once she got home, she showed us the entire shoe, and we'd be like, what in the world? So it goes back to, if you know you have a flaw backstage, your job as a competitor is to hide that flaw from me as the judge. If I don't see it, I can't get it. Period.
Right.
Now to go back to the microwave queen. That's how I look at it. Some of these new babies come out and they're, to go back to the beauty question, because they are stunning to look at, and people have told them, oh, you are gorgeous. You would be the next Miss Continental, the next Miss Black Universe, the next Miss America. But they have no presence, none whatsoever. I've seen so many beautiful babies who have come out there and their head has been blown up so big that their quote unquote friends haven't been honest with them. What they need to go and perfect is the other categories. Don't worry about your face. For me, if you know you are a talented individual and that is your strength, don't worry about talent. What you need to worry about is the categories that are not so easy for you. And it's just so disheartening because there are so many that honestly have the potential to be great, but they get their friends in their heads that are saying, oh, they robbed you or they cheated you and it was mess. And as a judge, I'm sitting there going, why would I cheat you? I don't know you, and even if I do know you, then if you see me sitting there, you better be better than you've ever been because you know the type of judge I am. I am going to look for the back of that shoe to make sure you haven't pulled a Bosch on me. You know what I'm saying?
DJ, are
that
you
goes
hearing
back
that?
to the experience. I have been doing this for so long. I know the tricks of the trade. But, the newcomer, the new babies, if it's something that they love and is truly in their hearts, I have watched so many girls who, to go back to what you were saying about the tapes, I have so many VHS tapes of some of the girls that were
superstars now.
Foolish.
Uh-huh.
Foolish. But they are at the top because they had the tenacity and the drive. And they listened. You know what I'm saying? Even though they would get mad at pageants, they would still go back, or like you said, Skip, about the baby who, once she saw the DVD, she goes, oh, I understand now.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Don't you all agree though? There are so many pageants now. If you want a crown, you're gonna find one. I
oh
mean,
my
you
God.
can go anywhere.
On
I
the
mean,
Chitlin circuit.
I'm
Yeah.
amazed. You know where I'm really amazed?
That's
So
kind of unfortunate, but okay.
when I do local or regional contests, I look out in the audience and there's 30 crowns.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You are Miss what? What
Yeah.
are you? I mean,
And they're
right
all
now,
doing national walks.
right? Don't even
What?
get me started on that. Don't. That's been such a point for us, you know. And
I wanna chime in on that.
Hey, BJ. Yes.
hey,
Are you
Come on.
there? Can you-
I wanna chime in on and if I've been there. I wanna chime in on a few things. The first thing I want to chime in like, with what Skip just said, I honestly think the reason there are so many pageants now because there have been so many pageants that wouldn't give individuals a chance that were deserving that night of because of certain things. I think a lot of promoters now have taken an interest in doing the right thing, and so many national systems can't understand why this certain system would have per se 11 qualified contestants, whereas something on the chilling circuit they say would have 30 contestants. But it's because with what Albion, it's because can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
It's really bad. We can't.
Let me make
I
sure
mean, we
y'all
hear
can
like
you hear
every
And
me?
other word.
I really want to hear this point.
me too.
I do
I
too.
really do.
Is there a way to like connect to like a
Can you
Wi-Fi
hear
or
me?
something? Are you on Wi-Fi or are you just like your service plan?
We can see you, but we don't hear.
No.
But you look good tonight.
Yeah, and I am so
It may
wanting to hear his
I wanted to hear
comment.
that
just
too. I wanted to
be
hear
my
that.
service. Let me
Okay, so while
Okay.
BJ's figured that out, we want to take some time to recognize some of the comments in the feed. Everybody says, one person, Caving Cowboy, says, checking off the boxes of the requirements in a category doesn't mean you're delivering the category's essence.
Oh my
Exactly.
God. Who is
Beautiful.
she?
Who said
Beautifully
that?
said.
Oh
That
my
is
God.
Caving Calvo said that on the comments. I don't know why it's not showing in here. This is my first time using StreamYard, but that was one of the
Bravo.
comments.
That was a great
And
point. Excellent.
yeah, I love that. So I'll repeat it since everybody liked it. Checking off the boxes of the requirements in a category doesn't mean delivering the category's essence.
That's a wonderful point. That's a,
Great
I'm
Okay.
gonna,
question and answer.
I'm gonna,
Tasia,
yeah.
you
I might
say.
steal that one. Yeah.
I'm gonna use. Let's see.
I
Go
can't.
ahead.
I'm gonna use myself as an example. Recently I competed in a competition, and I have this thing to where I look at what my competition may be, and I see what I've done in the past, and I work myself around in competing against what they have presented in the past, what they may present now, and try to find a better way to beat what they have presented in the past, what they may bring. I checked off all the boxes. I presented what the category asked for. I presented what the new fashion was, but what I lacked was the confidence.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that I lacked the confidence in what I was presenting because I was relying on the garment to sell itself and not me
Mm,
the garment.
mm.
Yeah.
I was really, really, really upset. I'm like, what the and my 3 friends came to me the night of the competition and said, "What's wrong with you tonight?
Mm.
Like your shit is sickening, but what's wrong with you?"
Mhm.
And I went in the back. I was like, "There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with me." But what I forgot was to not only put on a show, But remember, it's not about how much money I spent on this garment. It's about this body in this garment to what I'm presenting to the people. And if you can remember, Rick, I asked you, I said, like, did you like X, Y, and Z? You was like, yeah, it was this, that, but like, it's like you're missing something.
Mm-hmm.
We can eat $3,000 steaks, but if it's not seasoned right, toss it
That's
away.
it.
Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that often.
My thing, what I want to say to the newcomers out there, somebody told me to never stop, because the thing that I'm running into is being a male lead and still being a female impersonator.
Uh-huh.
Never stop. And do understand this: whatever you did not get that night was never meant for you, but there's something better that's coming. And you have to understand, you can prepare for the competition to win that night, but are you prepared to reign?
Yeah.
A
And
lot of
do you really want to win? Because I feel like if you do a contest and you get so upset that you say, "Oh, I'm never doing that contest again," you never really wanted that. It wasn't in your heart. If I don't care how many times you get knocked down, if it's something that you really want in your heart of hearts, you will continue to go back. And once you finally attain it, I'm going to use Giselle as a example. At Duval, the first year she did the pageant, she lost to Raquel Lord, and she lost in question and answer, and she was devastated. Devastated. She had to do the pageant 4 more times before she finally won. When she won every category. She lost it on stage. She called me 2 nights after and said, "I understand now." Because had I won that pageant the first, second, third, or fourth time, I wouldn't have appreciated, and I wouldn't have known what to do with it. You have to be ready. And sometimes once again, the audience and your family and everybody could, "Oh, don't go back. They don't want you. It's rigged." But if it's in your heart of hearts, that's what you do. I've watched so many girls who have had doors slammed and slammed and slammed, and I say, go back. If it's what you want, go back. And when that door finally opens, you will appreciate it so much more. And now your job is to show them why you kept knocking.
So I agree with that. But then what about when you get comments like, so you speak to a judge and say, "Okay, I want to work on this. What can I do? I want to come back. I really want to be X, Y, and Z." And they say, I'll use my experience for example. I asked a judge who judged me at Continental Plus. I said, we won't say names, but we got to say it. And I said, I want to be better in swimsuit. What can I work on? And the response was, "Well, you wore a black swimsuit." And I said, "Well,
that was it.
Do you think that we call each other and say, 'Girl, what color you wearing?' I mean, how as a contestant do I return and say, or keep going back if those are the kind of comments that I get that, 'Oh, you wore a black swimsuit.'" And I may notice, I see you, Deja. I may notice to that person, I said, "Well, I've done my continental research, and actually the year that I'm discussing, Cheyenne wore a black swimsuit and won. Taji wore a black swimsuit and won. Kiki Velasquez wore a black swimsuit and won. So your comment about me wearing a black swimsuit, what did that have? I mean, we don't call each other and say, 'Girl, I'm wearing black, so you can't wear black.' I mean, so those are the kind of comments that steer people away or kill that. Keep coming back until you want your. Well, what you want me? How do I keep coming back to something like that? How do I keep returning?
My comment to that is, Alvion, not to cut you off, every judge does not really care.
Yes, that's true.
And let's be very frank about it. I don't care if the superstars of all superstars are on the panel. I'm not enamored by that at all. I'm looking for a caring heart. I don't give a dog, and I want to say something else, what you've won, who you think you've become. If you don't care, then that's how it's going to come across when a judge comes to you and say that. Because my thing is, and do understand this, and I want to make sure that I'm making the distinction between it being an opinion, because that could very well be just an opinion. It's just an opinion that is not expressed enough to convey to you that they even really care. Because when you give answers like Alvion Arnell, like I've done my research. I know for a fact that you did. You just named 4 people that did that. I had no idea.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And so judges that care will take the time to say, well, in my opinion, and I won't make it a fact. I won't say, well, because you wore a black swimsuit. How dare you say that? Because you have all of these. How dare you say that?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll just say, well, I mean, have you thought about another color? Have you thought about another style? Because quite honestly, once the scores are all accumulated, and if they're accumulated correctly, there's nothing that we can do about the result. And then, and this is what bothers me on a panel. This is what bothers me on a panel of judges when they say, well, you won the panel and so and so and so and so. Well, girl, it was 7 of us there.
Yes. Thank you.
It was 7 of us there. So you can't say that this, it was my score, and then this is another thing well, you won on my sheet. Judges, be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because you are poisoning the integrity of the panel. Either we're going to be a cohesive group of people, and like Tay said, stand by your decision. That's how you destroy contestants' confidence.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Well, you won on my sheet, child. I don't know how she won. And then when you put that in a public forum, then that poisons the whole integrity of a panel. It just instantly does that.
Yeah.
So I said that to say, find you a judge that cares. And then who you can personally relate to. And don't be afraid of the person that you don't think that you can relate to, because perhaps they can probably have the best solution for you. But once you and your own intelligence notice or discern that this person really doesn't care, move on.
Yeah.
There you go.
And find you some qualified people with integrity and who care.
And remember, there's only one judge, and 9 times out of 10, they're gonna throw out the high and the low. So you just look at it like, okay, well, their score will be thrown out. And I honestly feel
but how as a contestant do I know that that's not the mindset of all of them? That that they all think that way. I mean, a lot of times you can't speak to all 7 of them or all.
You can, you can.
Here's the thing. First of all, I feel terrible that happened to you, and I'd like to have a private conversation sometime.
Sure.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. A lot of times our system gets criticized because we do use a lot of the same judges often. But guess why? Because I feel that they're fair.
Yeah.
I feel that they're approachable. I tell everybody, and you were in my interview, Alvion, this is my email. And you're welcome to contact me after, and I can't speak for anyone else.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I think. Because I'm going to give you a great example, because you said her name and it really got me. Sasha Valentino was the queen that always should have been, right?
Right.
She was the one, and we remained friends pretty much till the end of her life. And we used to talk a lot. And she said to me one time, I don't feel bad about this because I know you care about me and I know you want me to win. I just need to get better. And that's not something you get all the time. But no judge should ever take it upon themselves to say, this is why you didn't succeed.
Correct.
There's 7 people there.
Correct.
Yeah.
There are 7 people there, and you might have 7 different opinions. I had somebody come up to me 2 years ago and said, you kept me from winning this contest. And I said, I kept you. And they said, well, everybody's going to do what you do. Obviously, you don't know the people I work with.
Right.
Because they don't think any more of me than they do, Joe Blow on the street. They have opinions. They're educated opinions. They're going to do what they think. But what I can say is it's honest. May not always be right, but it's honest. And they care about drag. You have to care about drag.
You have to care about it.
That's the very first thing. If you don't get out of here,
Okay, so another thing, a contestant also recently that I spoke to in pageantry said that a judge from a certain system told them that they should go and get Botox before they return to the pageant.
Horrible.
And it really took me like what? Like really like physically structuring. I mean, what? Like really? And he was like, he said, yeah, they told me that, and I went and did it. because it's my dream. I want to be this. Like
Wow.
Rick said, if you want something, you go back, you know, and he said, I went and did it. I went and did it. And
Wow.
I looked at the person and didn't know the difference. But it was like, I was just like,
Well,
you
maybe
know,
they look different when they paint it.
they were.
Yeah.
It's a male, maybe when they're painted. But I've heard stories of girls going to get new teeth, girls going to get the breasts, girls going to do this because these, you know, pageants or judges have said, oh, this would look better if you had breasts, or this would, you know, this fit would be better if you had body instead of pads. So, you know, Tasia, I think, wanted to chime in on that,
Yes.
but that was real. I mean, he said that a judge told him that before the pageant, go get some Botox. And I was like, what?
And the problem with that, Tasia, before you go, the problem with a comment like that, and just the fact that he went and did it, he doesn't have the confidence that he needs to win on his own. He should have X that judge completely out.
Yeah,
No,
that's like, it
that
wasn't
makes no
worth the
sense.
time.
That could
Wasn't
affect
worth
his health. So that's
Okay,
crazy.
so we're gonna let Tasia go, but I have a comment that says one judge can make a big difference. A lot of pageants have a 1 point difference between placements. So if one judge, which makes it a point. So we said that, you know, it's just one judge, but if that judge is, you know, has made that judging and there's like a 1 point between the winner, then that one judge actually could make a difference.
Well, first of all, that connotation is, and again, that's someone's opinion, and this is my opinion. So what? I mean, mathematically, that's how it failed.
Yeah.
It was not an intentional way to keep you from winning this pageant. So don't fool yourself with that type of, you know what I mean? Don't feel, because if mathematically it was, you know, an accumulation of scores, that's how it failed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no intention of, oh, you know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. The flip side of that is, what if this judge gave you an extra point
And you won.
after the fact, after the accumulation? Then the integrity is completely lost, and you've done, and the panel has done you an injustice.
Well, the thing is, 1 point's within the range, so
Yeah.
it's not that they were out
It's
and
inconsistent,
left.
right?
I mean, if they're 10 points off, they're going to get their score dropped. So
Exactly.
that's the thing. I mean,
Asia.
it's a competition. How else would you separate it?
There can only be one winner.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. When we did Micah's show, Rick, you remember that somebody had a question about that. They said to us, well, 1 point is everything to me. Well, you're holding that point too close to your heart.
Yeah.
It's a competition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you'd rather lose by 1 point than 20 points, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it hurts the same, but
Yeah.
mathematically, like,
Either way, you lost.
Yeah.
the number.
Hello.
BJ, are you back with us yet?
I think so, because we hear the clicking.
I see him. Oh.
As soon as I asked him, he disappeared. Okay,
Tasia.
Tasia, go.
Okay. I'm going to rewind, then I'm going to fast forward, and then I'm going to come to the present.
It's the Cabernet.
Really?
So, to say that the 1 point situation, if there's inconsistencies, then the head judge those things, either toss those out or give you what what your just dues are. Next thing to that is, there was a situation to where I was competing in a competition as the Deke, and a judge told me after I asked them for talent, hey, you know, this, that, or, you know, how it was like, oh, I just thought it was feminine. I am a child that's a Y child. I'm a Y child. My grandma always said I'm a Y child. So my question to them was, I'm too feminine. And then I named 4 male leads that are just more as feminine as I.
Oh.
And then I said, so what do you say to this person, that person, this person, and that person? And what I got was mute baby Jesus. So what I took from that is, then you're not for me. Thank you so very much. No,
Yeah.
Right.
thank you.
Right.
Because what you have put in your mind already, that you know that I'm Tasia, so all you see is femininity. The next thing, there was a situation to where I wanted to be this particular queen, and I asked the powers that be, what do I need to do to be a part of the system? And they told me I need to be more feminine. I started taking hormones. I started to transform myself because I wanted to be a part of something that I thought was for me. And then reality kicked in. And when I say reality kicked in, I woke up and said, after I have relinquished this title, although I'll be a former this, I'll still be a woman that, and that's not who I want to be.
Right.
So to say what Basha has always said, you unrigged the rig.
There you go.
So after I started to come back to whom I was, my thing was, I don't have to change myself physically. What I have to change is the art of what makeup is. I have to beat these bitches at their own game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing now, I know, me, I can stand next to any trans woman and look just as feminine and as pussy as them because I learned the art of what drag and female impersonation.
Okay.
And you have that confidence now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's a really good point. You know,
Yeah.
I'll tell you when Michelle Dupree won Continental,
change
she got
yourself,
beat up really
but
badly.
how you
You
do
know,
is
people were saying you need breasts and you need hips and you
Right.
need this, and she said, "Drag is my love. It's not my life. I don't feel like a woman unless I'm in drag. I don't feel like, you know, so I'm not changing myself for you. And if that's not enough, then it won't be enough.
Me either.
I'm going to do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good point you made. Good for you.
Yeah.
Hard to
All right,
stand up to
BJ.
people.
BJ, can you hear us? Let's try this again.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
you on BJ? Shoot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I you were saying something. Okay, so what was the question? I literally
Talk, BJ. We just
all
want
of
to hear you
y'all.
talk.
It's to the point
We
where
just
I'm
want
about to block them.
we just want you at this point to kind of just like what you've heard and the comments you missed out on, just kind of throw in your because I mean we're just having an open discussion now about the last question was about a contestant in the pageant said that one of the judges told them to go and get Botox before the pageant. So that's what we were talking about, doing those kind of things to change your actual body to win a pageant.
Well, me personally, I would be totally against it. Simply being, unless it was something which I wanted to do myself, I would be totally against it. Unfortunately, as we all know, it is no secret we lost some legends within this community because others have influenced them or they have felt the need to have body augmentation and or enhancements to fit the mold of certain systems or certain standards as to how others view them. So I personally wouldn't encourage anyone to get Botox. Anything that is, it would literally have to be their own decision to do so to move forward with it. Just thinking back, honestly, even listening from the first question I get to chime in on was about the qualifications as related to judging, and things of that nature. I just personally feel as if, as it relates to that,
Oh man.
Oh, shit on the shangle.
Oh.
Oh, BJ, go to the library or something and log in.
Whoa.
Pull up to the
I really want to hear what he got to say.
Pull up to
And he was getting into it too.
He
Oh my
was.
God.
And I'm here for it.
I know. No.
All right, I think he's back. Let's try. Can you tell your trade stop calling you so you can talk to us?
it ain't even that. It ain't even that. My goodness. that later. But anyway, I'm sorry. As it relates to judging, for me, I've always been a non-biased individual, regardless as to who it is. Um, Mother, father, sister, brother, uncle. I think one of the biggest um issues within pageantry is some judges oftentimes judge individuals based upon what they've heard, who they think they are, or who they used to be. And I think they're taken into account sometimes with judges. And I feel as if it defeats the purpose of having an accumulative score as it relates to categories and or subcategories if you're judging me off stage. Unfortunately, sometimes as it relates to judges say, well, I'm going to be fair, I'm going to do the right thing. But no one knows how a judge is going to judge. We said more than one way to skin a cat. When it comes to the veterans and when it comes to the newcomers, we've seen time and time again where people say, well, if the newcomer is just that good and they excel in all the components of the art form, then they'll be given the chance. But I think it also goes back to what you said, Sasha said. I kneel down sometimes when I know that I shouldn't have.
Now, a word from our sponsors. Okay, so some of what I did hear BJ say was also
what is going on?
I don't know. Some of what I did hear BJ say was also a question from someone on the feed. It says, "Do you think it's fair to judge someone off of their story? For instance, someone judged my competitor saying, 'I was so proud that he improved. You just stayed the same, even though my same was better.'"
No.
How do people come up with this stuff?
I don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't write this. We couldn't make this up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the unfortunate thing about pageantry is it's a pageant. You're going to be judged. Deal with it. Get over it. Because if you have a complaint about everything, every innuendo, you'll never be successful because you'll just stress yourself. It's a pageant.
Yeah.
And what happens is, and this just annoys me too. It just annoys
Vicky,
me extremely. Yeah.
Something's going on.
Oh Lord. Am I doing the BJ?
Oh.
I can hear you fine.
I can too.
Okay.
Not over here.
No, I was people will drive themselves crazy about judging panels because my thing is, if you don't want to be judged, then don't do a pageant, whether it's your dream or not. Because my thing is, as a judge as a judge with a caring heart and integrity, I am so disturbed by there being so many angry people over there even being a mere fact of having a judging panel. Well, honey, this is a pageant. They're going to be here. And you have no control over that. The only thing you have control over is what you present on this stage. Now, mind you, there have been pageants where, even us as judges on different panels, Rick, Skip, and Tasia, and you two of you, we've saw things in a different light when we weren't sitting on the judging panel.
Sure.
We've all done that. And I don't know if that's because of our compassion for who's competing or what. But it's one of those things where there are so many contestants who are concerned. Well, who want to judge your panel? It's a pageant. Ain't no telling who on there. I don't know. I just don't know what to say. Because there's always going to be the blame of the judging panel. It's just always going to be that way. And that's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because my thing is, and if you're in that fear of a judging panel, mentally something else is brewing up here. Well, it has nothing to do with the judging panel. It's you.
And as a judge, as a contestant, you have to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
And as a judge, you have to have an even thicker skin. Because they're always going to blame you. That's just all it is to it. So,
and if your purpose, it's a competition. It's much like Chelsea told you. If it was just about the dress, just bring it out on stage. You know what I'm saying? It's more than that. It's more than that. But
And
I
to go
will
back to the
say,
integrity question, I mean, you're always going to have people who disagree. But if you know in your heart of hearts that you scored that pageant, from what you saw, then your integrity is fine. And and I'm not one of those judges who will ever tell somebody you won on my sheet. I think that
oh
just
no,
sounds so stupid
that
because, like
wouldn't
you
sound
said,
stupid.
now
Oh,
you've thrown the other judges under the bus. What
exactly, exactly.
for
Rick,
me, you should.
you and I had that at Ebony all those years.
Yeah,
We made a pact never
yeah.
to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
You shouldn't judge
it's the
pageants again.
silliest thing in the world because you're saying that your opinion was correct and your
Yeah,
comrades' opinions were wrong. So there's
yeah,
something wrong with the system.
yeah,
And then it becomes that thing, that thing of one judge hates me and so I'll never do anything. And believe me, I've
exactly.
been on the other side of that. I really have. And I never quite understand it. First of all, guess what? We're not friends. I don't care after tonight. I care
Okay.
tonight that the right person wins and that people go home happy. But
Yeah,
your anger towards me, it's really your problem, not my
yeah.
problem. Because
Because I have my own life.
I want everyone to do well. That's because that's part of the excitement of being a national judge, is you want an evening of great entertainment. And then, you go through it and you say, okay, this is what the system was looking for. I saw it on paper. It was my job tonight. Nobody loves their job 100% of the time. They don't. And that's the truth of it. But contestants have to know when you decide to do a pageant, before your gown, before your talent, you better know that system.
exactly.
You better do
Exactly.
your education,
Yeah.
and then you go back. I really love, because you're competing more often. I'm really interested in the things you say about competing and people trying to get you to change your body and all those things, because I think that's going to really relate to people out there, and
Yeah.
your attitude of, I need to do better. I just need to do better.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how rarely I hear that.
Yeah,
Because there's always a motive. Like, what is my motive for you not doing well?
yeah.
What am I, Simon Bar Sinister? I don't know what I don't know what that means. I mean, I love, and just because you did really well doesn't mean you're going to win. Vicky said it best. It's a competition. Like, somebody has to win.
Yeah.
They just do, and sometimes you're torn.
Yeah.
So one of the questions was let's talk about judging urban culture. Lizzo solo is a talent. Lizzo solo is a show.
Anything can be made a talent if you add the right elements to it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can be a talent.
Yeah.
Because a talent is something that's entertaining, that you can do. You're entertaining the people, and you're entertaining. Anything can be a talent.
Yeah.
A person,
Liza, I'm sorry, not Lizzo, Liza.
a person can get on stage with water glasses and play music, but if it's entertaining and you're being talented in it, anything can be a talent.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing that a lot of these contestants, they always, I heard contestants always say, but it was clean. It was clean. No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not clean. Was it entertaining?
Yes.
Is
Oh my
the
God.
question.
The clean and consistent should be out of the realm
Oh.
of drag. That's so dated.
Oh.
Girl,
And
shut
what-
up.
I
I'm
misread
clean
the
and I'm
question.
consistent and I'm not in the past. You know what I'm
I
saying?
misread the question.
Yeah.
I hate when people say, "Oh, girl, she was on her words." First of all, we'll lip sync.
You're supposed to be
Okay.
on your
You're
words.
supposed to be on your words.
Hello. Hello.
What else?
Okay.
Yeah.
I misread the question. The question was, my apologies. Liza solo is a talent. Lizzo solo is a show number.
No.
Why?
Why?
Well, yeah, I don't
That
understand.
was the
I don't
question.
agree with that, but it's
No.
their opinion, I guess. You have to make me want to care about spending 6 minutes with you or 7 minutes with you. Like, I at the end, I want to feel as engaged as I was when you walk out, because I think you all agree with me. Part of the great part about judging is somebody stands there, they get ready to go, and you're going, I want this to be good. I want to really be entertained.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think. First of all, it's show business, right? Isn't that? I mean, that's what it's called, show business. And I just want to care about what you did, and I want to see that. I want you to tell me how you spent a year of your life getting ready for this. I mean, was that important to you? I mean, I part of it is just common sense has went out the door in pageantry, and I'm not sure where that came from.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to understand that there's a whole bunch of people that are rooting for you. Maybe some aren't. I don't know. But if you engage them, you're going to feed off that energy, and you entertain people. So entertaining, you got that. It's as much coming at you as you're putting out there. So you know, if you're not feeling that when you're getting ready for a contest, you might want to rethink what's going on here.
And then also, Alvion, on that question, on that note, and the person who wrote that, Liza with the Z and not Lisa with an S, Liza with the, that's a Broadway production.
It's a production.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a broad. Lizzo, you know, and I love Lizzo.
Me too.
But it depends, and yeah, anything can be brought into a talent. However, if it's not tasteful, then it's not talent.
And they have to understand this.
Yeah.
When people do Liza, they're giving
an illusion
of what she gave. If you're gonna do Lizzo, don't do Lizzo's song. Do Lizzo as a production.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do it as a production. And having two people walk up on stage is not a production.
Taji Iman commented in response to that and said, "Liza tells a story. Lizzo sings feelings."
Come on, Taji.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do Lizzo as a talent, then I need to see you convey those feelings that she is portraying in her music.
There you go. There you go.
But see, that's
make me buy it.
Yeah.
Make me buy it.
Evoke some type of emotion. Yeah.
Don't just do it because it's the hottest new thing out there. Because you're going to fail. You're going to fail. You know, if you can't connect to a character, it's just not going to happen. I mean, Liza on stage isn't Liza in real life. She created a character. And,
exactly.
You know, that's kind of the thing. And I worry anytime a new album, when Gaga comes out with a new album or anybody like that, you're like, oh boy. You know, it's like that contest where there's 40 contestants and number 37 is going to do Jennifer Holiday. Like, you know, it's coming. You just right? And her complexion's as light as mine. I'm going to do that. It's going to happen. And it happens all the time. I swear.
Another comment was, "What bothers me is the double standards of only questioning judges or who the judges are at certain pageants only."
Yeah.
I agree with that because I experienced this at a recent pageant where I happened to be a performer and I was in the back and the pageant was over and there was not even a contestant's friend of a friend, helper friend that came to the back and was having a big old fit.
Those are the words.
You know, and somebody, I would just say it, but Cheyenne had a live feed about the way that the treatment was.
Right.
She said, you know, you go to the Continental and you're not running up on Jim Flint about why your friend lost.
Exactly.
Why is it that you had these people pageant running up on them about why their friend lost?
No.
Do you think that that's a respect thing, or do you think it's they know who to try? Do you think it's where does that?
Well, first of all,
it's ignorance and immaturity. Because my thing is this: what you allow to happen will happen.
Yes.
And that's just the end of it. If it's not a lot, because people will try you, but once you lay that foundation, oh baby, don't do that. Don't do that. Your friend of a and the friend of a friend is really the worst person.
Well, first of all,
absolutely. That's where the trouble is.
The person who has competed should have more control of who they bring and how they act at a pageant.
Yeah, because it's a reflection.
Because they have to understand that if my girlfriend is clowning at the pageant, they're not going to look at my girlfriend.
Correct.
That's just like a parent raising a child, and a child is tearing up the place and going up and like, "Oh, girl, why they mama?"
Girl, who is the mama?
Right.
Where your mama at?
Not the babysitter. What a babysitter? No, ma'am. Who is the mama?
I compete in competitions. I know what children I tell to come.
Well, you have to, because that shows your choices.
Two of my
and if they cared anything about you winning for real, if they cared anything about you ever eventually winning, then they would curtail that behavior if they really cared.
Yeah.
Or they would stay home.
And acting out of emotion, we've all done that. But the mature thing to do on something that you can't control is just leave. You got to have that type of conversation in the, you know what I mean, outside of here.
Wait until you get in your car.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I am not saying that people cannot be emotionally stricken on your behalf.
Yeah.
It has happened to all of us.
Yes.
But
yes.
until you learn a level of maturity, because if this is something that you really want, you want to keep your best face up.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
You know what I mean? And
You
a lot of times you do have some out of control children that do things that you probably don't have control of. But if they care anything about you and your dream and your aspirations, then they would take a second look at acting out in such a way that could potentially ruin your chances ever of even being invited here. Paying your entry fee or your desire to pay your entry fee does not mean that I have to accept it.
Right.
I competed in a competition out of town, and my son said, I know you're not going to do this pageant. I was like, yeah. He was like, you know, they known for working people. I was like, still going. He said, I'm going to stay at home because I cannot be responsible for how I react if you don't win.
Mhm.
I said, thank you. Stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like,
that brings me to the next question. Score sheets. Some pageants give score sheets back the night of the pageant. Some score sheets, some pageants, some do not, for whatever reason the case is. For instance, there's a pageant here in Virginia where a contestant rightfully probably should have won the pageant. I was there. They rightfully should have won the pageant. However, the owner's good girlfriend won the pageant. And when they got the score sheets back, they figured out, or they thought a certain judge was the reason why their mama or whoever didn't win. And so they literally got a pool stick and went to attack this judge. And
What?
so from that moment on, this certain bar does not give back score sheets because they think everybody's feelings are in an uproar, you know, blah, 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 blah. And so they put into place, you know, call me the week after, call me a day after, we'll mail them to you, da, 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 da. But the night of the pageant, we're not giving back no score sheets because we ain't trying to get nobody beat up. Now, I think that first of all, in my opinion, it shows a lack of home training. It shows a lack of respect and professionalism on everybody's behalf to go to the extent to try to physically fight somebody because your mama done lost the pageant. However, how do you guys feel about the pageants and the score sheets and not giving back score sheets and things of that nature? As a competitor going into the pageant, I already know that this system ain't giving me back no score sheet, and I chose
Right.
to compete here. Or
Right.
this system is going to give me back a score sheet, and I chose to compete here. Now, when the scores come, they look a little funky, maybe, but who's to say? At that point, it is what it is. I showed up. It's just like at Miss Universe and all the rest of those pageants. You know, I'm sure they don't. Them real fish don't be sitting around waiting on no score sheets. They, you know, they do what they do and they go home.
Right.
I'm sure
Right.
Miss Thailand ain't sitting at the front door waiting on the judges to figure out why she lost. She's trying to get on her flight back to Thailand. So,
Mhm.
you know, how do you guys feel about pageants that do or do not give back score sheets?
Well, we do, and I make a firm. It's a big thing to me because I feel like in order for a contestant to get better, they need to see why they were deducted, or even if a person wins, although you very rarely hear of the winner paying attention to their score sheet. For me, yeah, they really should because they may have only won by 1 point, and then when they go to the next contest, they lose by 1 point because they didn't correct, you know, things that were on the score sheet. However, I agree with if you know going in that you're not going to get score sheets back, then there's no need to complain. That's just all it is to it. You have to do your research once again and know where you're going, know, you know, what the criteria is and deal with it. If it's something you want to be and they're not going to give you score sheets, hey, you're still going to want to be it. Just continue. I think the biggest thing is, and I tell Alexis this all the time, when you get to a certain level in pageantry, and Taja, I'm going to include you, especially, I love that comment you made about referencing the fact that you understood why you lost. But at the end of the day, you get to a point in pageantry where you're no longer competing against the girls or the guys. You're competing against yourself. You need to be better than you were the last time. That's just all this. And if at the end of the day, your best was the winner slot, then hooray. If not, you just keep going and you just continue to compete against yourself. Don't compete against the other contestants, because that's where you can get shaky. You'll feel like, oh gosh, I know that they're living for. Sorry. I know they're living for this contestant, so no matter what I do, I'm not going to win. Or this person's fashion is so much better than mine, and they may have a bad night, or they may lack the confidence, or they may be too cocky. That's a problem. You know, there's a thin line between being cocky and confident. And as a judge, sometimes that cockiness is just not appropriate. And you're just looking like, oh, okay, you're gonna come out here like it's already yours. Now I'm finna try and find something, and or you stay out there so long because the audience is screaming and hollering, yeah, boom, boom, and then you say, oh, there's that string right there. So just compete against yourself.
A response was, if you're questioning it, that means that you don't trust the integrity of the system. So don't compete where you question the owner or judge's integrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
You also have to understand this. Like you said, if you're going into the system, you're not getting the score sheets. But when you are getting these score sheets, are you mentally prepared to accept what they have said about that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Because and then there's pros and cons to both, and I respect both systems that do and don't. But to the benefit of those that do, I'm like you, Tasia. Are you really taking heed to this? Are you so upset that you lost? Because even with my pageantry system, I've had it for 18 years now, and it's what I call a grooming pageantry system. And I have a panel of 16 judges because I wanted to mimic an audience, and I want you to get various opinions of others. Because if we are in fact a grooming system, then you'll need to hear diverse opinions of different people. When you get these judging sheets home with you, then you're able to study them. And I guarantee you, the ones that have won successfully and been successful after 3 and 4 tries, it's only because they've read those score sheets.
Yeah.
Did you say 16?
I did. Whoever said that judges had to be 5 or 7? That's gay culture only. 15, and they love it. Missouri State, let me give a plug in. Missouri State is the most fabulous time that you'll ever have in pageantry. Ask Taji. She couldn't believe it.
She's up on here. Let's see. This is the reason. Someone says, this is one of the reasons why I love Miss Gay America. The critique session is amazing. Sitting with the reigning queen and the judges to talk about the contest after it is amazing.
If you could say woke, it depends on how late at night it is, because I've been in the American system for a long time, and some of the times we were sitting there, baby, by the time they got to contestant number 56, which was myself, I'm being facetious, but girl, you were so tired it didn't matter. But they do offer they offer an amazing platform where you do that. But again, you do run into the pageant where the judges are just as exhausted. So to pass this along, they're just telling me anything. So I'd rather not even hear it, because you're just as tired as I am. I've seen it done, trust me.
Tajib commented, and this is also my stance on this. I mean, word for word, this is how I feel about it. Scores are the scores. You know your flaws. I never read score sheets. Score sheets are for newcomers.
There you go. There you go.
I was just having this conversation with my friend about it, and I think I totally agree. I think that, like we're talking about grooming, so that these newcomers can learn from these sheets. But if you've been doing this for 14 years, you know what was wrong.
Yes.
I totally agree with Taji on that comment.
Yeah.
The other one says, to be honest, a lot of judges are older and don't keep up with the now. I think it's imperative to update judges.
No, because I disagree. But anyway,
I disagree. I totally disagree with that.
I do too. Yeah.
I totally disagree with that, because if you present, it has nothing to do with the fashion. It has nothing to do with the fashion and updating. If you're presenting the fit and all that, and everything is right, if they're an old school judge, they know how something should fit. I don't give a damn how fashionable it is.
This is what Rick Fan would say. Make me buy it.
Make me buy it.
Hello. There you go. There you go.
Like,
Yeah.
I know.
Rick said, I don't care about any of that. Just make me buy it.
Right. If you have on and it's a new Millennium Sweetheart cut gown, but your breasts are pewing over it, they're barely covering the nipples. Baby, no.
No.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. That it's not about really, because at that point, if that's the case, if that's your point, then you're basically saying that I'm judging whether I like your dress or not.
Yeah.
And that's not the point. I'm supposed to be judging the fit and the overall look. And I'm not supposed to be judging on I don't like your dress. So if I don't know that Balenciaga just released whatever suit, then it don't really matter as long as your Balenciaga suit fit.
And don't think that you have copied a Balenciaga gown, girl, because it's not supposed to fit right here. No, you have to know etiquette.
Yeah. This one's for you. Someone said
there are several pieces that have went down the runway where celebrities have purchased these pieces and they have changed them to where it fit their body.
Right.
So if you're competing in a pageant, change that concept to fit pageantry etiquette. This is a beautiful,
like you said earlier.
Fit here, it needs to fit here, it needs to cut right here because I don't want them taking off and say it's too big, tight, or no. Give me the concept because you ain't went to Balenciaga about this.
Experience matters.
Come
it
on,
matters in judges.
Yeah,
it just does. I mean, I believe me, I've been at the other end of that comment many times, many times, and it always kind of makes me laugh because, first of all, you're saying that I'm older and I can't keep up with fashion, or I don't.
You're saying I'm old.
Yeah.
And you'd want to be that way someday. By the way,
You don't have to tell me I'm not that. You know what I mean? But also, I'm very smart. I'm very smart, and I pride myself in that. It's not even a justifiable statement. It is what it is. Don't come.
So Rick, we got to have a conversation because we got two people up here to say, I won Duval 3 times, but received first all 3 times. Laugh out loud. I'm just kidding. I love Duval pageantry and I love Rick Finn.
I love when I hear that because half of my kids, well, all of my kids that have done Duval, I've heard that I already won the pageant. Well, no, you ain't win because they didn't place the crown on your head and you didn't get the ring. No, boo, come on back. And you're not the first, second, third, or 50th who've been in that same situation. But if you want to be this, come on back because we want you to win too.
There's a response to the response to that. They said it's a thin line between thin line between couture and judgeable couture.
And that goes to, people need to understand, like I said earlier, that goes into costume.
Not stretch all night.
That goes into costume and fashion. We know what couture is. What couture is. But you still have to understand it still needs to meet the criteria of what's the fit, the accessories match. How do you walk in it? Is it functional? You have to know all these elements before you start
the score sheet.
Bullshit together.
And then my thing is, do you want your friends all? I always ask this: do you want the judging panel full of your friends?
Oh my God!
Because you've already failed.
Yeah. But if they are your true friends, they're gonna say, "Girl, you told me that sports world was sickening, but Miss Thing."
No ma'am.
No ma'am. All right. So another one says, technical judging is, or at least should be, the standard. I've judged many garments I didn't like, but that's not what I was there for, and they still got perfect scores.
Yeah.
Updating judges doesn't alter the basic guidelines.
Oh my God, who said that?
That is from Raw Time, Isra times Iman.
Oh my God, fabulous.
Technical judging is, or at least should be, the standard. I've judged many garments I didn't like, but that's not what I was there for, and they still got perfect scores. Yeah. Updating judges doesn't alter the basic guidelines.
Well said.
That's awesome.
And
a whole meeting was called when I was winning by 20 points.
What happened?
Somebody said a meeting was called or something.
Girl.
Antonio King says
Right.
some of these comments are why I don't participate in online discussions.
You got to swipe right, swipe right, swipe right,
So that way.
swipe right.
Okay. So
Antonio King needs to know he can run, but he can't hide. Okay.
Right,
He's
exactly.
out there, and he's one of my best friends.
Antonio King is an excellent judge. He knows he can handle it quite well.
yeah, he's judged me before.
He
Yes,
can
as well.
judge quite well.
All right. So I think I've caught up with all of the. I just want to take a moment to say we had some really, really dope people watching. We had Giselle Bobby Royale is on, Taji Iman is on, Isaiah Sanchez Hilton is on, Dale Iman Dickerson is on, Aja Dupree is on, Adrian Morris is on, Romel Davis is watching, Bambi Mays is watching, Taji Iman is watching, Tariq Dupree is watching. My eyes are getting old. John Brooks is watching. Dwayne Yesha Alexander Dillon is watching.
Okay.
Bubbo
Yeah.
just won Miss Louisiana America.
Yes.
I'm
Congratulations.
just scrolling some of the people that I can see on here. A lot of people have thanked us so much for this informative conversation. So that's really well.
Cool.
Amaya Glamazon, Miss Black America is watching. Let's see. Okay, I think I caught everybody up. Okay, Gemini Walker, Mr. Sweetheart Plus is watching. We got quite a few people watching. We've kept a good, consistent number. So hopefully this has allowed a lot of questions. Leo Love More is watching.
Leo.
If you're watching, say hi in the comments so that we can let these people, the panel, know because they can't see this because I'm not experienced in StreamYard. So, what?
Huh?
Isaiah is watching. Jay Cruz is watching. Gigi Gordon is watching. Hey, how you doing? Oh, it's over there. Sapphire Milan is watching. All right, so we got a lot of great pageants coming up. Makai Dickerson is watching. And so Baxter Braxton is watching. Skip, this question is for you. Armani Damone is watching. Shorty Houston is watching. Okay, I got to take a pause from that. There were a couple questions with Continental this year. Everybody's excited. It's the next pageant. It's in a couple weeks. And we know that they're doing everything one night for each division. So a question that came up on one of the questions was, with the interview portion, normally those interview scores are used for preliminary judging and to narrow down to the top 10, 12. So exactly how will those scores factor in this year? And is it going from all 25 contestants to just the top 5?
Well, I won't say that it's just going to be a top 5. You know, this is a new experience for us too. I will tell you the interview score is going to count for everyone. That's going to count all the way through the night.
Okay.
You know, that certainly isn't, and I love that. You know, interview and final question are my, you know, you really see who people are.
Oh.
You know, and Rick and I had a conversation again. I think it was on Micah's show about pageant answers. Like the worst thing you could do is give a pageant answer.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, so
speak from your heart.
Yeah, interview will carry.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so interview will carry, and there will only be a top 5 unless there's a tie, kind of thing.
Well, he didn't necessarily say.
Yeah, I'm not sure because like I said, this is also a new experience. It won't be a top everybody that was in the pageant. I'll tell you that. It will be eliminated down. Yeah.
Okay.
We plan on 5. We always plan on 5. That's the thing. It's gonna, you know, it's a completely different experience for us too. You know, it just really is this year. It's exciting though. I mean, we've all
because they have to bring their A game.
Well,
yeah.
And people seem very excited this year. You know, we still are, you know, going to ask that everybody be COVID conscious.
Definitely.
You know, if you go to our website, there's information there. But we're excited. We really are. And I wanted to thank you again for inviting me tonight. That was
me too.
Absolutely. I just think I wanted to get, everyone was hurting. I just wanted to get a thank you so much. I wanted to get a diverse panel of judges, because another thing that happened, let's just say this, There was a contest that kept getting flack about the judges and the girlfriends always on the panel and that kind of stuff. So the owner outsourced other judges from other panels, other divisions, other systems to try to appease it's always the girlfriends on the panel. So then it turned into, well, they don't know nothing about our judging because they judge USA or they judge Continental or they judge X, Y, and Z. So that's why I wanted to kind of get a cohesive group of people that had different opinions. I wanted people like Tasia, who has valid points and valid opinions about things. She's very vocal about the way that she feels. And again, they're people that I've trusted to be here and that would offer some, what happened was a lot of people were, at the end of the last pageant I went to, there were so many questions about, well, why didn't the judges do this? Or why did this happen? Or why was the MC like this? Or why was this? And who said this? And who picked these people? And so all these conversations are constantly had at the end of all of these pageants, but there is not a chance to sit down and try to talk about them and figure out why the why is the why, and this is the way that it's supposed to be. And so, we lost a whole year due to the pandemic of raining and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, this would be a great idea as my platform as Miss Duval Plus to try something different, to put something out there for people to ask their questions as they've been having, and to listen to you guys' opinion, for as notable people in the community, because some will appreciate your advice and some will still say what they want to say. But I think that Haji made a very good point. Just don't go where you don't feel comfortable. If you feel that the judges are cheating or you feel that the owner is cheating, then just don't go. I had to learn that as well for some pageants. I did a pageant and I thought that things were good, but at the end of the night, there were several other reasons why things turned out to be not so good. So, at that point, I realized that this type of relationship isn't for me and that system. I have love and respect for the owner. I have, all that kind of stuff. Always have, always will, even though that happened to me. But it's just, and I learned how to deal with people and to deal with situations. You know what, baby, this ain't for me. It's just like you going skiing or you going swimming and you get out there, you be like, this baby, this ain't for me. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to
and I'm so glad to hear you say that, Alvion, with it as accomplished as you are, because it just I'm so old school. Empty wagons make the most noise. Yeah. I mean, I just feel that because if you have everything it takes, it doesn't matter. You're going to bring it to the runway and the scores are the scores. But if you're an empty wagon that you want to find an excuse to solidify yourself, because here's the thing, I didn't just start in this. I've been in this since '84. So it's like I've seen things evolve. I've had those same emotions, but it comes to a point where you just make a decision. Like you said, hey, this is not for me. But this is not in any way say that I can't. This one just is not for me. So I'm not going to make a whole lot of noise surrounding why this, why that. Ask yourself why, then answer.
I have a comment about the contest where you said that the owner decided to pick judges from this place and that place or what have you. I don't understand that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, if you're the owner of the pageant, if it's your pageant, you select your judges. You make sure your judges have integrity. And if the 5 contestants or what have you don't want to do the pageant, fine. The pageant will still go on. If there are only 2, you'll still have the pageant. So to change who you are to try and appease everybody else makes no sense. Because at the end of the day, even though they changed the judges, they still got complaints. Right. So what did he achieve, or he or she achieve in the end? And it makes you look weak.
Exactly what happened. At the end of the night, it was still complaints because it turned into. Some people don't know our type of judging. If it was this way, then if it was it turned into that. So again, I just think like
it would have been baby. Listen, take that money somewhere else. We good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people need to understand. And everything ain't for. Listen, Vicky, these people is on here hashtagging this empty wagons make the most noise.
That was so cool. Paula
They
can come up with them.
hashtagging.
That's old school. That's old school.
Let me feel my wagon up here.
Girl, don't make no noise. Don't make
There
no
you go.
noise.
Sneak attack.
I mean, I wish you could. They are blowing it up. When we get off here, you can go back. This will be online. You can go watch it. But they are hashtagging that empty wagon to make
Make the
noise.
most noise. If your wagon is filled, you won't hear it, honey.
They are all about it. Does anybody have anything they want to leave us with? We've been on for 2 hours now. I think we done talked.
Oh, wow.
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. Thank you again so much. Good to see all.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much
you.
in my
Same here.
I think that
I
these
wanna say-
conversations.
I want to say, as a judge, I do have a pencil and piece of paper to score you, but just like the audience, I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
I want to be wowed, as well. I want to sit there and can barely contain myself because I want to jump up and scream too, So as a contestant, to me, that's what you should do. Entertain me. Just like you're entertaining the audience, entertain your judges too.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And as a judge, my point is I want to make sure that you understand that I know where you're coming from, but I don't want you to feel like it's my responsibility to make it happen for you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think that a judge's responsibility is to make it happen for you. Because if you make it happen for yourself, then the judges will fall right in line.
Yeah. Everybody.
And the thing is, so much flack is given to judges, but if there's going to be a pageant or if there's going to be any type of contest that you're going to quote unquote win, you have to go through the process of competition. And judging is the number one position.
And judging is an honor.
It is an honor. It is an honor. And it's one that I don't abuse. It's one I love because I love to see the evolution, and I just love to see the culmination of everything that you went through to get to this point. I am applauding you in such a way because it has got to be. I mean, for those pageant people that have it easy, God bless you. But for those of you that have struggled, I appreciate you. And when you present yourself on that stage, make sure that you appreciate yourself for getting to that point. And it's not a sympathy thing. Don't bring the sympathy, baby. Don't bring that.
Like
but
my mama said,
bring your confidence. Leave your cockiness at home, honey. Leave that at home, but bring your confidence and your accomplishment of all you had to go through to get to the point that you're on that stage. And you have a thumbs up for me.
I think that makes a difference. My mom always taught us about that. Like when we were, my dad had this thing about, when we all came of age, he would, buy us a car or help buy us a car or whatever the case was. And my mom was totally against that. And I never understood it because, of course, I wanted the free car. Like, yeah. And I'm the baby, so the first 3 people got their cars, and now here's my turn. You want to implement some rules. So it was, but I understand it now because I've learned it, especially in pageantry and even with just doing shows, that when you work for what you want and you put your time and your energy and your all into it, you're going to take care of it. You're going to make sure that it blossoms, that it grows. Like, when I first started doing pageants, I was one of those, getting new to it about the sponsor. Oh, he gonna sponsor me, da-da-da-da-da. And then when I saw them start to fall through, I realized, baby. Like the last time I went to do Continental, I got a part-time job to make sure that I paid for Continental. And I sold Jello shots at the bar where I worked to make sure that I paid for Continental. So I had to do what I had to do to make sure that I got what I wanted. And at the end of the night, regardless of how I felt, I was so proud of what I worked for.
Ain't that amazing? That's amazing.
And so it made a total difference, and it really, really, makes a difference. So all of that, I say that to say that there are so many people who are expecting sponsorships, wearing their mama dresses, blah, 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 and then you still mad at the end of the night. You have no reason to be mad. You put nothing into this. You didn't sacrifice nothing. You didn't work. There's no reason for you to be mad. And then your mama lost in the dress, and now you put it on and thought you was gonna win it. So that's another whole story, different story. But I just really think that we hit on this earlier about the honesty. You knew before you went out there that this dress was too short.
Yeah.
You knew before you went out there that your hair wasn't in the right place. You knew before, so now you're mad at me as a judge because I know it too. But but you bring it out here. I'm supposed to.
Yes, ma'am.
Asia, are you waiting to say something before we close?
Yeah, I just want to just say this to people who are competitors and judges. Knowing the flaw that you have when you're competing in competition, how would you be able to judge yourself standing on stage and jury and accept what you have given yourself when you know you are a flawful person?
Exactly. Oh my God. That's
it all boils down to the honesty. Be honest with yourself. I know I want my best tonight. I know this won't right. I know my dance fell off the stage. I know the feathers flew out my fans. I know, you gotta be honest with yourself. Right. And at the end of the night, that alleviates all the questions and all the heartache and all the questions of the judges. Deal with yourself first and say, you know what? I know that wasn't right. Or I know I tripped up. Or I know it'll cut all of that questioning the judges thing out, because apparently you believed in this system. Apparently you believed in because you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because there are some places that I won't show up at because I don't believe in it. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And I just, you guys know I've gotten my flack over the last 25 years with the scores of the scores, but girl, they are. I mean, these are they. And so at some point, I came up with that slogan so many years ago because at a point I had to settle with myself and say, they're not going to change. And my thing is, this is the reality of what has happened. So I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to be encouraged by it, and I'm going to move on. I'm not going to harp on or be so angry that I'm just going to lose my mind over. Girl, the scores are the scores, and these are they. Girl, the scores are the scores. Just make sure you get all of yours, and you'll be okay.
Yep. So really quick before we leave, I just want to flash up a few flyers of some upcoming events. We have Black America coming March 2022. I clicked it too fast. We have Mr. and Miss International Vogue Newcomer and Plus that is going to be next weekend, actually, in Memphis, Tennessee. And then, of course, I invite you to join me as I celebrate my 5th year as a ruler of the universe. Black Universe is going to be Halloween weekend.
Yes.
We spoke earlier about Continental. Keep in mind that all 4 divisions will be in one weekend: Elite, Mr., Plus, and Miss. Be sure to read and figure out which venue. Some are at one place, some at the other place. The COVID procedures and guidelines. Be informed before you make an ass out of yourself. So make sure that you read and follow directions. The Royal Prince and Princess Pageant is a royal scandal is coming where ballroom meets pageantry. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how those two get together. If you need more information, you can speak to Neil Dupree. And of course, Tasia and I welcome you to join the Green Machine, honey. Westland in January coming around. 4 crowns in one night. They're doing all the divisions in one night to try to catch up and put things back on track. So the Mr., Miss, Emperor, and Empress will all be in one night.
I may be who knows?
And of course, our newly crowned Mr. Gay America, Christopher Iman. Congratulations. Our new Mr. Gay America. And I just had to show this because Kamaya is the new Miss North America, and she has worked extremely hard. She has grown and groomed herself to be a beautiful young lady, and this promo was one of the most recent released. And I was like, oh my gosh, she looks stunning. So there you are. There are some upcoming events. Again, I thank all of the panelists for being here tonight. I don't know what happened to PJ. Fantasia Lamore said he should have went to a Starbucks and
I'm sure she said that too. I'm very sure.
But thank you all so much for taking out your time and being here. I really, truly do appreciate it. Now, normally it would be 2 weeks apart, but that weekend, of course, will be Continental weekend. So we will not post the live. We will do the live the following weekend so we can talk about who skipped cheating. And then we can
you can have BJ back.
Bring it on.
Yeah, then we can have BJ back.
Bring it on.
Yeah, we'll bring BJ back. I'll make sure that
bring it on.
I'll mail him a router or something. Make sure he got it.
Let me say one
So
thing.
again,
I want to say one thing before I go.
okay.
I've become a real fan of the Duval system. I think that the way it's developed and the integrity it's shown is just a model for anybody that wants to start a system.
Yes,
Oh
Lord.
wow. Oh man.
It's so true. No, it's so true.
Oh,
A couple years ago, your newcomer boy, and I think his name was Tyson, but I could be wrong. He did an interview with me, and he was gracious, and it was my first. Of course, I know Rick, but it was my first introduction to it, and I think that it really is the prototype. If you're interested in pageantry and you want to start your own system, it's a good way to start. It
Look at
really is.
Alvion.
thank you
Alvion,
so much.
what did your sash say, honey?
It doesn't say, it reads Miss Duval Plus.
And so does she. She reads just to say it.
I love it.
It
And
reads Miss Duval Plus 2019. I'm the COVID queen. So there I so I'm
I
still
think I
Miss
need to
Duval
get her a
Plus.
new sash.
Yeah.
The COVID
Just
queen.
real quick,
no,
Duval Pageantry.
let's put COVID behind us,
Yeah.
child.
Duval Pageantry will return in June of 2022, starting
Yeah.
with the Mr. and Miss Division. So if you need more information, you can see Rick, Sunny, Savon, or the Lady Marissa. So be sure to come and join us in sunny Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you, Skip, so much for the recognition. We appreciate it.
True. It's very true.
Thank you. This has been an honor.
An honor.
Thank you guys so
Honor.
much.
Good to see all
Thank
of
you,
you.
thank you, thank you. We've got so many hearts and things. Antonio says we need Rick on the Continental panel.
That
Oh,
would be a
okay.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
That would be a
Uh-oh.
wonderful thing.
Simon's gonna eventually get there.
Yeah, okay.
Go, Simon. You know Paula is rooting for you, honey. She's rooting for you.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Have a
Thank you,
great night.
Tasia. Thank you, Rick.
Bye.
Thank you, Skip.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Vicky.
You're
And
welcome.
thank everybody who watched a Duval dish. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
There you go. Say bye bye. Bye bye. Bye. Ciao.
I'm pushing in. Why they stop?